the hill. I thought going down the hill in the snow was going to be great, but it wasn't so great. But either way, though, we had a good time. All right, so let's jump right in. Okay, so first off, I want to let you remind you all that I'm super excited about the fact that we have almost completed this book. I mean, we're on page uh, 195, and this book is only about 222 pages long. So we just got about 25 pages, 26 pages left, something like that, whatever. 30 pages. I don't know what the number is. But anyway, we don't have much further to go. After we finish this book, after we finish this book, we are going to jump into some other books. Let me show you some other books we're going to cover in the Dr. Boyce Book Club. Give me 1 second. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so here's some books we're going to cover. All right, and by the way, hey Rick, I want to do the trailer toward the end. Hey Rick, are you Oh, anyway, that's the surprise. I was going to bring Rick Mathis in, and we were going to release for the first time ever the trailer for the new film B1 the movie. That's going to be at 9:30 Eastern. So Rick, if you want to, you can hang in here if you want to, or you can pop out, or until you want to come back. It's totally up to you. But anyway, so here's the deal. So the books we're going to cover in the book club, after we finish Black Labor, White Wealth, we're going to hit these books. This is what I want to do next, right? So I want to do Powernomics. You've got another book, Dirty Little Secrets by Dr. Claud Anderson. See, this is where you need to learn your Black history. This is where you learn your Black history. You do not learn. Give me a yes in the chat if you hear what I'm saying. Give me a yes to confirm that I'm not speaking into outer space on this. You need to learn your Black history from Black people, first and foremost. You must learn your history from your people. Seriously, learn your history from your people. The whatever crap history you were taught in school, that wasn't education. That was what they call propaganda. That is propaganda. Propaganda is used to control the slaves. Propaganda, misinformation is used to control an oppressed group of people, and you are oppressed. You've seen evidence all week long. You saw Whoopi Goldberg get spanked in public because she said something that the Jewish community didn't like. You see that right now they're torturing Bill Cosby because they're mad that their justice system didn't punish him enough. So since their justice system didn't punish him at the level they think he should be punished, they said we're going to torture this guy until he's dead, right? So ultimately, these are reminders to me that you don't have power, because I did a survey, I did a poll, and I asked you all, what do you think about the Cosby thing? And I didn't expect, I'm not telling anybody to believe that he's innocent or that he's a wonderful guy. I'm not telling you to do that. I just said, do you think that he's had enough? Like, do you think it's okay to move on from this? Most of you, the overwhelming majority of you, said either I don't care about this documentary or the documentary is a hit piece. The majority of you said it was a hit piece. The rest of you said, I do not care. I'm not going to watch it. There was a small percentage of you who said it's a good thing. And so my point in bringing all this up is, if you read books like this, which I'm going to show you guys all the books that we're gonna cover after we finish Black Labor, White Wealth, you'll just kind of know this is par for the course. Ain't nothing special happening to you right now that's different from the things that happened in the past. This is all. If you understand the architecture of the building that you're in, then you understand why you're having the experience that you're having. If you understand the nature of the system, if you understand how the offense and defense is played in the game, then you'll understand, what's going on, right? So ultimately, so the books we're going to cover after we finish Black Labor, White Wealth, which we're almost done with that, and all the lectures. If you go to drboycebookclub.com, you can get copies of every lecture I've done on all these books so far, and I'm going to do probably hundreds more by the time we're done, because I'm really committed to this. We've done probably 30 so far, 30 lectures that you can go get if you go to drboycebookclub.com. There's a fee to support the Black Business School because we're trying to grow, but it's all right there for you and your family. We're going to also read Dirty Little Secrets. Black history needs to be learned from Black people. Dirty Little Secrets gives you the information that you will never get in a public school. You will never get this information in your raggedy Black history class that you learned at High School, whatever crappy high school you went to. They didn't tell you this stuff. I bet I can randomly open a page in this book and read something to you that you probably never ever learned before about your own people. That is shameful. That is shameful. Powernomics.com, Nasia. Powernomics.com. That's where Dr. Anderson's books are, by the way. So it's downright shameful. So these raggedy schools are not going to teach you and your kids history. Also, even when they talk about critical race theory, right now they have this whole debate about critical race theory, critical race theory, critical race theory. I don't care what side of the debate that you're on. I really don't care. I don't see any harm in teaching critical race theory, but at the same time, I would rather have race theory and Black history taught by our people. Because remember, critical race theory simply says, okay, white people are going to teach a different type of Black history to you, right? Or that your Black teachers in white institutions are going to be teaching your Black history to you. And that's all okay. I mean, it can work. It can work to a certain point. But I believe that Black people teach best when we're in a free space where we can say what needs to be said, right? So I'm not in the critical race theory debate. I'm not, because you know what? Because today I talk to my own children. I give my children critical race theory. I sat down with my 11-year-old when we were driving back. I was covered in snow because we had went down the hill, and I told you I didn't realize you don't sled on the hill when the snow's fresh, and I had snow all over my face, and we were talking about you know the Dr. Boyce version of critical race theory. So one of the things I remember talking to her about was we talked about discrimination. And I gave her what I and people like Dr. Claud Anderson believe when you talk about things like discrimination. I said, let's look up the word discriminate. Let's look up the word discriminate. And I read it to her, and I said, discriminate. Well, basically the definition was something like to discern the difference between two things. To discern the difference between two things. And I said, so everybody discriminates. The example they gave is they said a baby can discriminate between his mother's voice and a stranger's voice. So everybody discriminates. Everybody has a preference. Everybody's. I said, you got on a pink jacket. You discriminated, because you like pink, right? You could have wore purple. You could have wore blue. You could have wore black, but you wore pink. And I said, so people are always going to have preferences. They're always going to have preferences. And in order for you to ensure that you as a Black woman are getting what you need out of this world, you have to position yourself in a place where you are free and powerful so that your preferences can matter as much as everybody else's. Equality is something that you have to take. It's something you have to earn. It's rarely something anybody's ever really going to give to you. It's not going to happen. Then the other thing me and Tater talked about today was the difference between going to school and being educated. I said, look, I know a lot of educated fools. I know a lot of Negroes who went to school 1,000 years and don't know nothing. I said, but also remember, while there's a difference in going to school and being educated, there's a difference between education and knowledge. There's a difference in education and knowledge. And then while there's a difference between education and knowledge, there's also a difference between knowledge and wisdom. So I explained to her. She said, what do you mean? She said, that sounds really deep. What is that? I said, yeah, it is kind of deep. It took me 50 years to figure this out. But basically, going to school means you went to school. Getting educated means you went to school and actually learned something. A lot of people go to college. They think that because they spent 4 years on the campus that they're smarter when they leave. That's not always true. Sometimes you're just as dumb as you were when you walked in the door. Knowledge is actually the information that you really need. Knowledge is something you typically get outside of school, where you're learning the skill set or the information necessary for you to do whatever it is you're trying to do. You've got knowledge. You're trying to be an engineer. You got knowledge on how to be an engineer. You're trying to be a father. You got knowledge on how to be a father, etc. Wisdom is when you've applied that knowledge over the course of time and gained from experience. So the difference in a wise person and a knowledgeable person is that the wise person has learned the ups and downs, the do's and don'ts, the wins and the hows, and the nuances of what it means to actually achieve a goal, right? So I said the difference between me and you is that you're going to school and you're being educated, and over time you will pick up knowledge. I am wise. I am your father. I am wise. And she got that. So I want you to kind of know the difference, because remember, in this space, our goal is not to educate you in a way where you achieve equality. I don't care about equality. Equality is for suckers. I educate you in a way where I want you to be superior to the competition. Racism is a race. You're going to win that race. You will run like Athene Moe and Sidney McLaughlin running around that track. That's how I want you and your kids running. I want your kids winning. I don't want you equal to nothing. We don't do equality up here. That ain't what we're talking about up in here. So the book, so to give you an example, remember I told you, like Dr. Claud Anderson books, you can randomly open a page and I bet you'll find out information that you never heard in school. So let's see. I open this up. He says, the Roman Catholic Church hid Black popes. So he says, the Catholic Church is proud to state that unlike other positions of authority and leadership, the office of the Pope has continued unbroken since St. Peter venerated as the first Pope. It is commonly accepted that the Catholic Church has only elected white males to the papacy since St. Linus of 67 AD. But according to author Ross D. Brown, the Catholic Church has had at least 3 black popes and a number of black saints. The 3 African popes were St. Victor I from 189 to 199, Melchiades, I can't even pronounce it, 311 to 312, and St. Galatius the First, 492 AD. Now, how many of y'all, give me a yes or no in the chat, how many of y'all knew that there have been 3 black popes? Answers, please. Jeopardy. We're going to play Jeopardy music. Do, 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 do. I'm going to keep playing the music till I see a yes. Do, do, do. Okay, wait, I saw a yes. Okay, I saw 2 yeses. Very nice. All right, so the next book. So Dirty Little Secrets, that's going to be one of the books that we're going to read. Another one is the Black History Reader. Now, remember I told you guys that when you can open up to a random page of a Dr. Claud Anderson book and you will find information that the average black person does not know. So let's see. He has here, I'm opening up on a random page 147. He says, did black Americans receive the same economic benefits as whites in Franklin Delano Roosevelt's 1930s New Deal? In President Franklin D. Roosevelt's 1932 New Deal program, black Americans, the people who had suffered the most during the Great Depression, received the least in benefits. The stock market crash in 1929 triggered the Great Depression that stalled economies around the world, closed factories and businesses, and brought hard times to everyone's front door. This nation's general unemployment rate was pushed to 25% for whites and was 2 to 3 times higher for blacks. 1/3 of the nation was ill-fed, ill-housed, and ill-clothed. These conditions propelled Roosevelt, a strong believer in the role and power of the federal government, to campaign for the office of the President of the United States. In his 1932 presidential election campaign, Roosevelt, a Democrat, used rhetoric that gave blacks the impression that he was sympathetic to their economic needs. Roosevelt's slogan expressed a deep concern for the forgotten man and pledged a New Deal for the people. Black Americans naturally, but erroneously, like now, right? Like Uncle Joe. I guess they probably called him Uncle Frank. Same way some of these niggas calling Joe Biden Uncle Joe. So Uncle Frank, let's read up more about what Uncle Frank did. Roosevelt's slogan expressed a deep concern for the forgotten man and pledged a New Deal for the people. Black Americans naturally believed the broad terms forgotten man and the people either referred to or included them. At that time, see, that's that integrationist stuff for you. All right. So anyway, at the time, the majority of blacks belonged to the Republican Party, a continuation of their allegiance to Abraham Lincoln. But in the 1932 election, blacks abandoned the Republican Party and threw their votes to Roosevelt, who won the election with their support. Once in office, Roosevelt and his administration designed a New Deal program for the working class and the poor. However, as it turned out, Roosevelt's New Deal program did not have blacks in mind. I bet you they had blacks in mind when they were campaigning. They needed them black votes to get elected. So black people, pay attention now. Tell me, give me a yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. How many of y'all learned this in public school, like when you went to high school? Did any of you have a high school history teacher who taught you any of this stuff? Yes or no? See, that what you don't understand is you don't even know who you are because you've been lied to your whole life. Like all of us. I'm not talking about just you. I'm talking about all of us. We've been lied to. So people think I'm angry. They think I'm mean because I say that white people should not be educating black people. Well, if you think that I'm mean, that probably means that you're just addicted to whatever weird oppressionist entitlement leads you to believe that you have the right to control my mind, but I don't have the right to control yours, right? When Whoopi Goldberg got out of line, they pimp slapped her and suspended her from the show because they said, you have no right to speak because you're not saying what I want you to say. Well, in this place, we do the pimp slapping around here. This is our house. That's why you ain't never gonna hear an announcement saying Dr. Boyce is one of the new co-hosts on The View. I would not take that job. I don't care how much money you offer me. I'm not doing that job because I understand the importance of being surrounded by allies, real allies. Like y'all are my real allies. Like I know y'all have my back. I see you. I hear you. I love you. I hug you in public because I appreciate you. But I'm not going into a space where I'm surrounded by enemies. Seriously. So pay attention now. So what Dr. Anderson's saying in this book, this is the Black History Reader. We're going to get to this. We're going to go through this book page by page. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we will meet up and we will talk about what's in Dr. Anderson's books, because this man is a hero. This man is extraordinary. He took the time and did all this research to make sure you have a chance to learn your history the right way, so that when you go and you're debating in your office about reparations or whatever you have a debate with, you got your facts in your pocket. You know, this man did something amazing for the world. But anyway, let me keep going. Let me keep reading. So Roosevelt got black people, again, tell me if this playbook sounds familiar, got black people on board, got black people believing that it was, going to be, that everybody was going to benefit, that we were all going to win. And they got the black support, got in office, and forgot that black people existed. So he says here that once in office, Roosevelt and his administration designed a New Deal program for the working class and poor that did not include black people. The New Deal did not address the government and culturally imposed reasons blacks were so poverty-stricken in the first place, and provided them only a few low-level jobs, limited health care services, and minimal welfare benefits. Within a few short years of implementation of the New Deal, national surveys and social discomfort indicators revealed that in the midst of the Great Depression, economic conditions for blacks grew worse, and the gap between them and whites grew even wider. When are we going to stop repeating ourselves? I think that's literally the $1 trillion question. When are you going to stop repeating yourselves? Yeah, somebody answer this question for me. Is the racial wealth gap, is it getting bigger between blacks and whites, or is it getting smaller? Are we catching up with white people in this generation, or are we falling further and further behind? Right. Because it's like a race. I was a track coach, and I wished I was a track star, but I wasn't. I ran, but I wasn't a star. But here's the deal. If you're running a race and you're behind the other runner, if they're running faster than you, then that gap will only continue to grow. When it comes to wealth, white people are running faster than you. So the gap is growing because they're running faster than you. But here's the other problem. Half y'all Negroes are running backward. Like, now imagine I'm running a 100-meter dash, and I'm already running against Tyreek Hill, who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. Super fast guy. He's already creating a gap because he's so much faster than me, right? But then I start running in the other direction, and I really think I'm catching up. And then I got somebody lying to me, giving me some propaganda in my ear saying, come on, boys, keep going. Keep running hard. You're catching up. Boy, you going to get them. Boy, you going to get them. That's exactly what they're doing to you. They got some of our people running backward, and they're cheering you on, saying, look at all the progress you made. And you're like, yeah, I made progress. Because nobody explained to you what's going on. You don't understand what's happening here. America was built on the idea that we can make a lot of progress, not we, meaning the collective white American we, that they can make a lot of progress and a lot of money by keeping black folks running backward. So you're not even in the race, you're not catching up, you're not even running in the right direction. And so ultimately, but the thing is, as long as they can just convince you that you're making progress as you're running backward, then everything's okay. Let me keep reading. All right, so here's what else he says. He says, Eleanor Roosevelt, the wife of Roosevelt, was sympathetic to the conditions of blacks and tried to provide them an entree to her husband. She organized an informal group called the Black Kitchen Cabinet to meet with her and advise her on black issues, which she presented in her own way to the president. Now, I think that's pretty nice. I have nothing negative to say about that. I think that's cool, right? This shows the power of the white female. She's sleeping in the bed with this man, so she's got influence over him that no one else is supposed to have. Right. And this actually speaks to the lack of a parallel between racism and and feminism. Right. In terms of what white women go through, racism and sexism, rather. Right. What white women go through is not the same as what black people go through, because as a black man, I'm not going to be in that man's bed persuading him to do what I want him to do. Now, some of the men might want to be in the bed with him. I don't know. That's a whole nother story. But seriously, in all seriousness, though, the fact that the white female always had access to the white male and had access to his resources and access to his wealth means that if they are putting white women in positions of power because they believe affirmative action should apply to everybody, well, then they're just helping themselves. They're just transferring the wealth over from one party to the other under the same umbrella. So anyway, So there's so much more here. So this is the book we're going to read. We're going to read The Black History Reader by Dr. Claud Anderson. That's going to be another book. Another one is More Dirty Little Secrets. So Dr. Anderson dug in big time for us. Also, Powernomics, of course. Powernomics will actually be the next book that we cover. This is the National Plan to Empower Black America. The first step to Black people catching up is that we must have a plan. And then also what I want to do is I want to take on this beast of a book that I just think is beautiful by Amos Wilson called The Blueprint for Black Power. Now, this book is 870 pages approximately, and I just can't wait to hear what he has to say. And he covers a whole lot of different topics, so this is really going to be fun too. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to work through the books, and I will work through them with you, and I will break it down, and I'll read it, out loud, and we'll just kind of, and literally some of this stuff when I read it, I'm reading it either for the first time or maybe I haven't read it in a long time, and I'm literally giving you sort of an off the dome, like maybe the scholar version of a freestyle rapper kind of thing. I had Immortal Technique on here yesterday, the rapper, who actually happens to be an extraordinary freestyle rapper. He's like one of the best in New York. So maybe I'm like the scholarly version of a freestyle rapper. I don't know, because I can freestyle. I actually love doing that and kind of interpreting things as it comes along. And I think that helps us to kind of see things in a way that will help us to become more enlightened. I think Black History Month is a great time to kind of dig into that. Now, everybody who's listening online, I want you all to know that I'm about to shut down the YouTube feed. If you want to join us in the book club, just go to blackkeystogreatness.com, or you can go to boycewatkins.com. Just click the link and come on into the Zoom. I'm going to shut this off right now. So go to boycewatkins.com and look for the book club, and you can come on into the book club. We're going to keep on going for a little bit. And in approximately 35 minutes, I'm going to show you guys the trailer. You guys will be the first ones to see the trailer of the new film, which is called B1 the Movie by director Rick Mathis. And it looks like Rick is here. So at that time, Rick will turn on his audio and we'll show you guys the trailer. You all will be the